Let's
ProveX
go.
is perfect. I can't lie. I do fuck with ProveX more than MrProve.
I like the fact as well that he answered someone asked a question and he answered the question confirming that there's no like he's not trying to build a privacy layer between banks and the blockchain or the buyers and seller, because you can't do that. That's what everyone was saying yesterday. Like, how's he going to do that? But he's made it clear. There's no mixer. There's no privacy between buyer and seller. The buyer's going to know the seller's wallet. The seller's going to know the buyer's bank account. That's normal. Because that was the one thing I was a bit skeptical about, and I think a lot of people were asking questions. It was like, how do you get around the banks, like as like a being private,
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he answered and cleared that up.
Yeah, the way I was framing it last night is it's kind of like a decentralized local Bitcoins, but I think it'll also have like escrow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's basically just a P2P exchange for people that want to buy on ramp to crypto, off ramp crypto. Like, I think one thing we said last night, I was in a different space last night. It would be cool if there was like some type of marketplace that popped up around it too, to where like you could list your offer for what you have. Like, let's say you have $10,000 in PLS. You could list that, and then people could come buy it off you for fiat.
Yeah, I'm sure that that's what it will be. Just like local Bitcoin used to be, right? People would list their BTC and their rate, the percentage they're charging on top of the price. I think that's what he'd probably do, but it'd have to have some kind of anonymity. Like, you couldn't see seller detail, buyer detail. Only the parties that are actually transacting can get those details. If you know what I mean?
But I think having a ranking system would be good too. That way, like that the sellers are good.
Exactly.
You wouldn't
Verified buyer, seller, all that,
But what if the banks would just boycott this transaction in a sense, like down the line? Do you guys see that potentially happening?
I think it really depends what banks you're using, right? There's a lot of crypto-friendly banks in like Dubai, for example. They're not going to say no.
I feel like it'll have Cash App, Venmo, stuff like that to kind of bypass the bank potentially.
Yeah, Revolut, all of that stuff.
Yeah, the payment processor to me is going to be the friction zone. So I'll be interested to see like how he solves for that. But other than that, like, I don't really see any issue with it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't doubt that the privacy solution will be dealt with. It's just I wonder what's going to happen with the banks. I guess we'll strap in and see though. It's going to be fun.
The other thing that we were talking about in a different space last night, not to be bearish or anything, but like there's definitely a legal aspect to this too, and there's going to be like money laundering and concerns around that, just because that's how it is. Like there've been other things like this, and there still are things like this, to where you can buy stuff with crypto and essentially launder money, but like I feel like the government's going to be watching to some degree.
Well, it's just code at the end of the day. So, like, if it's just code and there's no one to actually go after, then it's more so they'll probably just go after the person that tries to hide it if they are doing something illegal.
Yeah, it would be interesting because like there's obviously going to be a fee, so that's going to the buy and burn of the token. But is some of that going to Richard too? Like, we don't know. So if it is, then that kind of opens him up a lot more than just being the creator. You know what I mean? That's like the whole tornado dilemma.
Well, I think it would definitely just burn the token. That'd be kind of crazy if it went to him. But indirectly, if it's on Pulsechain, it kind of goes to Pulsechain.
Yeah, I just like he earns fees off of Pulsex, and I'm assuming he earns some off of pump tires too. But yeah, I'm sure he's a smart guy. He's thought of all this. I'm sure he's run it through his lawyers and all that. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just interested to see like how it all shakes out. The
fact that the protocol will be code, literally just written code, is it's great. But like you guys already said, right? I can imagine law enforcement trying to get their hands all over it because money laundering. But that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be probably one of the biggest issues with it when it comes to jurisdiction. But besides that, I'm excited, man. I am excited.
I mean, there's a good case that like if it's peer-to-peer code, it's speech in a way, and like he won in the SEC case for that. That it's really just speech that we can run ourselves on our own computer. So yeah, I don't know.
I think the beauty of the SEC case is it forced him to have these powerful lawyers, and he still has connections with them. So I'm sure he had a lot of conversations with them about this before proceeding with it. So like that really is helpful, I think.
Yeah, like I don't even know how this sounds. Tell me if this sounds bearish. Hopefully it's not, but I would have wished that the case was dismissed maybe on like a different grounds and jurisdiction, because that would have been much more like I think that would have given us a little bit more clarity when it comes to it. But I remember seeing some court transcripts documents that were posted a while back about how the judge was more in favor of his side anyways. So that's good. Obviously that's good enough. But I would have wished we I don't know. I think that would have given the project. I think we would have had a little bit more clarity in a sense.
Yeah, I agree. Like the case doesn't actually set any precedent in the crypto space. Like, yeah, it would have if he actually won the case and it wasn't dismissed on a technicality. That would have made it a lot stronger. But at the end of the day, it's still a W, right? So,
Of course,
but I
yeah.
get what you're saying, though, bro. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like when there's a court case and the defense is like referring to a case, like this case in 1998, case number blah blah blah. You can't do that with Richard Hart's case because it wasn't. It was a dismissal. Like if it was a W, like a real W, then in future cases people would be referring back to the Richard Hart versus SEC case. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but
Well, we did get the clearing that we're not a security, so that is something.
Yeah, Panos, we definitely got the win, buddy. They will be referring it to as the greatest victory in
no, they
cryptocurrency history.
Pete, before you say stuff you don't know what you're talking about, okay? It was a motion to dismiss that was so basically like it wasn't a win-win. It was a win, but it wasn't a win-win. So you can't legally refer to that case in another court case because it was dismissed. You understand that, right?
I didn't know you had a law degree. I apologize.
I've listened to lawyers talk about that case and like break down why it was a technicality and it wasn't a precedent-setting case because it was dismissed. If the SEC knew they were going to lose that, if they had full forced it and like proper gone after him and like lost, that would be a complete different story. But that's not how it worked out, unfortunately. But it's still a W. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a W.
Well, the other thing is that's very telling is that they didn't refile because they had the opportunity to and they didn't pursue it.
Correct.
Yeah, I was looking it up. I guess you're right, Panos. They could still come after you as a security, but like we do have, it's a much stronger case.
Guys, it's not MrProve no more. It's ProveX now. You know, there's been a whole brand change today, which I think is for the better. Personally, I think it's way better than
Absolutely, it's
MrProve.
bullish, buddy. Everyone should be very bullish. I just want to say this to everybody. Richard Hart said something very important. He said if he doesn't care about alt season, he cares about our season. So Richard Hart build, we create the narrative. So next time anyone tries to go into these James Winflit spaces and all those retards, just remember we are the A side. Pulsechain is the A side. We create the narrative we want.
What do you guys think of the logo?
Yeah, I think logo's okay.
Yeah, it looks clean.
To be real, I would probably like polish it up a little bit, just like make a few little changes, make it like nice high res, whatever it needs to be. But yeah, it's all right.
I'm looking at like what it really means though, this whole Mr. or the ProveX thing. And I guess the biggest things are like you don't have to KYC and the exchanges, the counterparty risk of exchanges get kind of taken out because we can just go directly to buyer seller.
Yeah.
And then the privacy is not as much as I thought, I guess, but it's still somewhat of a privacy layer.
On chain, it's privacy, but
Right.
it's the connection between the fiat and crypto. Like, and that was the one thing last night. Everyone was like, "How does that work?" But he's confirmed, no, that is still KYC, but or KYB, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys see? Sorry, Royston. I was just gonna say, how do you guys see other coins in the Pulsechain ecosystem being listed, and do you guys see other coins from other ecosystems being listed on there to get onboarded to? Like, what do you guys think about that?
What was your question again? I got kids
Yeah,
yelling
sorry.
here.
I was basically saying, how do you guys see other coins in the Pulsechain ecosystem being listed? Do you guys see like somebody putting up liquidity on that exchange, or and and
100%, bro.
and a second part to the question, do you guys think Richard will maybe put in a function to allow other coins from other different ecosystems like Ethereum be on board, like to be on that exchange?
Well, I don't. I think that's the whole point is we don't really need exchanges anymore, and I think we will get
Yeah.
them, but it'll be like when we're 100x higher.
No,
So
but I mean,
you're asking, is there a limit to like, can you list anything yourself and just put anything up there?
Yeah, because I think it's
yeah,
you just put
that's
up your
It's
transaction
interesting.
request.
It's an interesting point, to be honest.
no, but that like yeah. So that point, what you guys just said, that like I think I see that happening too. But also the other side of it is like, let's say
Yeah.
fucking somebody from Solana wants to try to get their shit on there. You know, like let's say
Yeah, yeah,
Solana
yeah.
wants to try to get their shit. Like, what do you how do you guys see
Oh,
Richard
okay, yeah.
allowing
So,
that?
so the main thing is like you don't really need to care about subsections as long as you can get to Pulse chain. Like, let's say you want to go from fiat or Bitcoin to Pulse, I can go buy your sub community's token once I get to Pulse. So, like the main rails will be the main tokens, but then once you're on
Yeah,
that blockchain, then you can just go swap on PulseX.
that makes more sense and simple too.
So yeah, so I get what you mean, but I don't know if they really need to like have these little
Have all
little
these meme
tokens up
coins on
there.
these
Yeah.
exchange. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that makes sense.
From like 6 cents to like 20,
But the other big thing is
6
like
to.
it was also during altcoin season or after Bitcoin topped and he rotated profits. So
Yeah, well, see, the second sack was technically in a bear market, right? So we were going into the bear market. Not many people knew it yet, right? It wasn't fully confirmed. I mean, it might have been confirmed, but a lot of people didn't believe it or want to believe it, right? So Hex still banana zoned during that 19-day sack the second time, let alone the first time. The first time it went bananas, like skits, went straight vertical, from like a penny to like 36, right? The second time it was like 6 to 20 cents. So, when you take coins away from people, especially at lows like this, Richard can do whatever the fuck he wants after that, right? So he's probably thinking everything is in place. Everything is in place. Like everything is aligned so well that if you did want to send it,
yeah,
you
100%.
the last thing is like, how do I get coins off these people? How do I get as
And
many coins off them as possible? So you could technically do it fairly soon, right? And slowly banana the price up. You could take units off people now, right? Millions and millions and millions of hex, and billions of pulse hex, right? And then as you banana the price up, they've given away their units, so they can't sell it. But they're looking at the rest of the units that they held, and you're like, oh shit, that doubled. I might throw a little bit more in stack because I feel a bit rich now. I feel comfy. So then they throw another 20% of their stack in because it went up again.
I agree with it.
Yeah. So I see it playing out hopefully like that. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. But we should definitely gentleman's agreement, right? To preferably buy
Taking
your
away
core, buy
sell
cores.
pressure
Yeah.
from Mexican.
Yeah. Like we did last time, buy cores or buy hex or buy PLSX and sacrifice that. Because as you buy it, let's say you've got a stack of ETH or some stables, right? You want to throw your stables. You might as well buy PLSX or hex because you will shove the price up in dollar value 3-4% against yourself and then sack 3%, 4% more in dollars, which is what it's snapshotted in. So like it basically, it's not about your units. It's how much dollars do you sack at that moment, right? So if you full port 100 grand into Hex and push it up 10%, then you can sack that and you just got a 10% bonus.
I will
So,
say though, like I think there's going to be a
yes,
massive dip,
sir.
like a huge dip after the MrProve launches. So to just like be careful with like you
No,
could
you're not
probably buy
supposed to come
in
up here and
half
say
as
that, bro.
cheap.
You're not supposed to say that, bro. I'm joking. It
Just to
probably
like
will
yeah,
dip
like
back.
I'll probably sack, but not much, and then just buy a dip as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw what happened when Pulsechain launched, right? It instantly shot like 2.6x.
But the caveat is that if it doesn't get sacrificed a lot for, there's not going to be a dip. And if it's legit tech that people do want to buy
Exactly.
in and speculate on, there's going to be a ton of volume at the launch.
Exactly. This is the seesaw. This is the gamble you're playing with, right? How much risk reward do you put in,
Right.
and how much do you think other people are just going to fade it? Because look how many people are mad, bro. They're so angry. They're mad. Makes
Hey
you wonder,
Trey,
huh? Yeah, man. Hey.
I wanted to talk because you brought this up. I wanted to ask your opinion on something I was talking about with other people
Yeah.
last night. Like, so everybody's trying to figure out what is going to be accepted for the sacrifice. And
Yeah.
I heard you were just saying cores, but in my mind, like how how does it benefit Richard to take cores if?
Oh, not just cause, not just cause.
No, I
It
get
will be
that, but
ETH, BNB, etc. as well.
my point is, like, unless he's trying to hoard cores, which is possible, if he's trying to have funds to inject, holding cores doesn't benefit him because then he has to sell it.
I know. Yeah, we were chatting about this earlier as well. He obviously can't sell cores, so he's like, great, you give me cores, but if you think of it like this, is that not technically delayed value that he saves? So he takes cores off you, and then he pumps the chart. It means you can't take his ETH later. You feel that?
Right.
So that's kind of like that's delayed value for him. That he's saving value in the future as he pumps the chart. Because Rackham's come along and sacrificed $2 million of ink, and now he can't ever sell that ever. So like instead of raping the chart for 6 mil, right, at $9 or something, there's zero sell pressure. So Richard's money is kind of, it's his money, his buy power is kind of going further by taking units off you down here. So that's how I see it personally. I completely agree, by the way. He's probably going to be like, I definitely, hopefully get a lot of like real asset value that he can sell. Because if he gets stables, he's going to sell that straight away into ETH. He doesn't want to hold stables, obviously. So he'll probably be buying ETH, which is funny because it kind of brings his average down. Yeah, man, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But I do see it as that core argument. We tore this apart earlier. I see it as the delayed value that he saves money later.
The psychological factor of can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sorry, bro.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm saying because like people have huge core bags and we're worried about like, okay, if it is core coins that's for the new sacrifice, people are gonna kind of like, oh well, I don't want to get screwed again like last time. But they will. Sorry, let's not. They will. They'll do it because once that sacrifices windows actually open, and depending on what the incentive is again, they just have so much faith in Richard that I just think that it's gonna like sell itself over again. I think that there's gonna be like a lot more cores sacrificed than people think. Everybody just thinks that now because we're just speculating. But once that window's open and once the incentives are put on the table, I think you'll have like a lot of OG hexkins that will just like sack hex for it.
Yeah, and you look at what happened to Zcash, and it's like people are looking for the next Zcash right now, and they're looking at these videos of guys that held during $30. So this is just perfect, I think.
Yep, you know what he's going to do? The cores that get sacrificed will all be burned, and then the ETH and the BTC that get sacrificed is going to be used to pump the coins on top of the 700 million. You guys have to understand he's working with us. This is exactly how it's going to play out. So once we get that one big green candle, there's no turning back. These prices will be gone forever. So it's going to benefit the projects that are legit. The projects that are building a foundation, that's who's going to benefit.
I mean,
Giga, can you
spread
give us a breakdown of where it is in terms that normies can understand, please, brother?
we don't know exactly, but in the few things he's given us, we do know for a fact that it's basically like, okay, I have $1 million of Pulse Panos, and you have $1 million in cash. You have to basically give your bank account information to me and your address. This are two parties that need to interact with one another, sharing intimate detail, but it allows you to do that without a middleman, basically.
Correct.
So more of a bigger transaction focus.
So similar to like localbitcoins.com back in the day.
So was local Bitcoins that was just run through? No, it couldn't have been a smart contract. It wasn't even invented yet.
It's way more complex than that. Local Bitcoins was centralized. It was an escrow service basically and a marketplace. So you'd put up your ad saying you want to sell 1 Bitcoin and this is my rate, and then a buyer could come in, use either like a bank transfer, or you could meet in doing cash as well back in the day, but there'd be an escrow service in place and then the money would exchange hands. So I mean, this is a lot more complex with
it sounds like a Craigslist.
It pretty much was.
I was gonna say it pretty much looked like Craigslist too.
Yeah,
But probably not like
I can
easy
imagine
onboarding.
What I guess what I'm trying to emphasize is like it's not really a tool for onboarding necessarily as much as the reason for the token. I mean, even in his own words, the token is pretty much duct taped to the protocol, but the protocol is going to be extremely useful for those looking to do OTC deals. Now, however they custody, US dollars during that transaction, I have a hard time actually understanding how exactly this is going to work, but I mean, we'll look forward to it. And until then, I'm just gonna like kind of hold back a little bit and see what this is about.
Feelings, Giga, about not just the protocol itself, but the fact that there's could be another sacrifice, and just like what's your whole feelings on all of that?
Well, the way I see this is that there's actually zero justification for a new token, and there's zero justification for a sacrifice. But if you were trying to justify a sacrifice, you would need a new token. And so I do think I will say, like, I do have my feelings about a new token being given to the community. I'm not necessarily against a sacrifice, but I guess what I say is like, the benefit here would be, I pray that everyone gives up their cores to sacrifice, to this proof protocol, I guess is what I'd really say. If that's the case, I want as few coins as possible on the market.
I highly agree. Honestly, I fully agree with you, bro. A good 70% of your stack, at least. You know what I mean? Just
at least, yeah. You should probably stack at least 90% of your stack.
It's smart. It's smart to get the best valuation, with terms of bonuses and stuff. If you just 90% stack, then no financial advice or anything like that. But
reactionary move, or do you think this was planned all along?
Oh, it's a good question.
I mean,
Thanos,
you can answer this too, but I would say that I think that he does have a dev team that he's paying, and I do think that he is trying to come up with innovative things, and I do think that there's not really a very great way to integrate this into his current thing, but it might be a really good idea the way he pulls it off. So I don't think he did this because Pulsechain's down. I'll say that. I don't think he's like just trying to eke out money because the chain's down.
I don't think it was I don't think it was in the original. I don't think it was in the original plans or reactionary. I think it was adaptive.
Yeah, he's very adaptive. I believe that. Richard Hart, super.
This right. If Richard accepts any kind of currencies for this sacrifice, because I think it's very clear he's doing a sacrifice. I know some people were saying it's for the old sacrifice set. That's baloney. If he does do a sacrifice, please sacrifice the cores, because we've learned that Richard isn't gonna ape his stack into your bags in the first place, and then you also just don't have to actually market sell it in order to sacrifice for ETH. Like I know I sold a lot of Hex to sacrifice ETH because I didn't want him to have to sell Hex if he was going to use that for the first sacrifices. So,
well, I was saying earlier as well, Giga, just briefly to wrap it up for Giga, when you buy cores to sack that, it's like a snapshot of your dollar value, so you can pump the price against yourself and sack more dollars. Do you remember, like we did for Hex?
Yeah, you're seeing like your sacrificed value being worth more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if things work the way they did with Hex during the Pulse and Pulsex sacrifice, then yeah, that's what you would see, right?
Should be, man. Should be.
I mean, what if we're overvaluing the sacrifice? Like, what if it's just like he did it, he's going to raise as much money as he can, it's not a big deal? Because it seems like just a side token at the end of the day.
Well, if this protocol proves useful, and typically the deals that we're talking about done OTC are of very high value, he was saying whether it's 0.5% or 1%, we're talking about an immense amount of buy pressure on this token. So you basically get buy and burn round 2. And then, who knows if he's going to pair this thing against any of his other coins or create any kind of, so for example, what if he takes a massive amount of the ProveX or MrProve supply and pairs it very heavily against Pulse, and then, this protocol is buying and burning the shit out of it, and all of a sudden you have, this immense amount of buy pressure on the whole chain.
Yes, sir.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. Like somehow he brings that value back. But my second thing is like, okay, who outside of Pulsechain, who uses this and why? And does it really just cut out the centralized exchange of someone with 5 million or 50 million trying to go Bitcoin to cash.
Bro, it's a multi-billion-dollar a year business.
Yeah, it's OTC markets are massive.
Right.
Yeah.
So like today, what can I do if I want to OTC besides centralized exchange? And like, what's the fee structure behind that?
You
If
can
anyone
go
knows.
to an OTC desk and you can OTC fiat for Bitcoin or ETH for stablecoins or vice versa for a very, very low fee, 1% or lower.
Okay. So this just
Yeah,
like,
so usually, you know, people are not going to have access to that kind of desk, and you still have a party basically witnessing that transaction. In this case, you are the only party, you know, supposedly, right? We don't know exactly what this is, but supposedly you and the party you're, you know, trading, swapping with are the only parties witnessing that transaction.
right.
You know,
He did clarify that too.
Yeah. So like a typical OTC desk, it's you, if you're the buyer, for example, it's you, the seller, and then the company, which is the
the
OTC
escrow
desk
or
in the
whatever.
middle, right? So you have to onboard to the OTC desk, upload all your documents, your bank details. So it's not only the person you're transacting with that gets those details, but it's also the OTC desk. So this removes the desk, basically, the people in the middle.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of the times when people are like, "Oh, he's not going to do a wallet, we already have one." He's going to do a wallet. It's going to be like just like this structure, like no middleman, and it burns Pulse somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
there's
be
oh
I just
no,
think
go
that the token is very unnecessary.
well, there's a ton of, obviously there's an absolute ton of questions here. Like I could probably think of 10 off the top of my head where I go like, they're very, very complex kind of issues to solve here, and I don't know how you would, and I don't even think AI has been able to give me anything remotely close to an answer of what I'd be looking for. So yeah, I don't know, like who custodies the USD.
Do you think though, Giga, that the sacrifice is going to be like right away once he launches the URL, or is this something he's going to do later down the line?
Yeah, I would anticipate it, right? I would anticipate website launch basically coinciding with your sacrifice or within a small time frame. This is just a guess, obviously. And then I would assume that the actual thing is probably still being built. Now I could be totally wrong. He could launch this thing, you know, within a week and do a sacrifice that's a week long or something. But I just have a really hard time. Like if you're raising money, you usually want to do it over a long period of time. And then we're also talking about a product that's super complex. And maybe he has been working on this. Maybe that's why we feel like Pulsechain has like maybe not gotten as much love as it could. But yeah, go ahead, Gary.
I think I'm speaking kind of directly to what you were just saying. What are your thoughts about, okay, so two scenarios. One scenario is right now your central exchange onboarding fiat ramp has your KYC, AML. People get frustrated when it gets lost. It gets, you know, the mailing list or whatever gets distributed, Coinbase or whatever other exchange you want to call, right? So centralization of all that data. And I wonder if this pitch, without being said so directly in Richard's tweet, is more like a friends and family kind of onboarding. Because what he responded with a couple hours ago or whatever was that the bank information has to be known between the two parties in order for the USD payment to be made.
Right.
And the crypto address has to be known by the effective seller. So the KYC is actually direct with the individual that's selling. So if Giga wants to onboard 10 of his friends, he would have to accept USD into his bank account. And you know, it kind of, even though it doesn't completely alleviate it, it kind of relieves some of the clawback and chargeback kinds of issues, because banks at the end of the day can reverse charge, you know, 6 months or even longer out, especially if there's been considered something like fraud or
You want to make it
you know,
before it
something along
comes.
those lines. So like the accountability, I'm thinking is more of a friends and family onboarding route, because still the two parties know each other. They have to know each other.
Yeah, so I mean, if like in what manner is my bank account getting credited, right? Is this like an ACH deposit? If so, there needs to be an intermediary that's holding those funds. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is if you're going to pay someone's Venmo, PayPal, whatever, you know, kind of in 2017, that's what was going on with local Bitcoins and other things. And again, if you met some anonymous person that you found on Craigslist at a bank and you said, I'm going to give you the Bitcoin, you're going to give me, a direct deposit into my bank account, even if it was verified, that it just happened, that the transaction just happened, it could still be clawed back and people would get, their Bitcoin stolen because it just got reversed. It was some kind of scam or whatever, even with local Bitcoins. But if you basically went to the bank and said, okay, go in there and get your cash and give me $5,000 cash and meet me in the parking lot. Like that shit was happening all the time. So like, I still think that there's a direct, it probably won't be sales to anonymous, that it's more likely to be considered peer to peer. And again, that kind of it doesn't completely solve it, because sure, you're going to have your uncle or your nephew or whatever pissed off because crypto price moved on you in the transaction time. Like you set it up and say, hey, let's do this transaction, and then we need to make sure things clear, and then once they clear 2 days later the price has moved. You're still going to have that social like layer of like, trust me, bro,
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that we're going to have to learn about here in the coming days or weeks.
Well, Gary,
There's a lot of
what do you think
questions.
about real estate for this? Like, because the current escrow company is kind of, I think, threatened by this.
Well, again, you're talking about USD to USD, or you're talking about title that's enforced through government plat books and things like that, saying that a transaction's happening and everybody gets their slice in a real estate transaction, right? So you have title companies and all this other stuff that are getting a percentage of the deal. So if you're going to say, hey, I'm going to cut out the lawyers, I'm going to cut out, this is going to be some kind of real world asset transaction, I don't think that that really happens. I think that's kind of pie in the sky, for many, many, many more years. Because at the end of the day, if the tenant doesn't want to get out of the property, even though I bought it through crypto and a blockchain, nobody gives, like, the real estate is still occupied by the tenant, or possession is 9/10 of the law. Still law is what enforces transactions in real estate or in the real world.
Yeah, unfortunately, crypto's not going to solve squatters.
I mean, again, I heard this in 17. All of us did in 17. Art on the blockchain. Like I had a friend of mine was, second, whatever, 2 degrees of separation as far as friend, but met him in person and stuff. Is would be in line to be the king of England, of Italy, right? And if the monarchy still existed, but it doesn't, all right? So like that guy, because of his family ties of 1,000 years or whatever, big art guy, and his pitch when he was interested in blockchain stuff was, we can digitize and monetize the Mona Lisa, or art, the mural, what, the Last Supper. Let's monetize the Last Supper by putting it on the blockchain. The painting by Da Vinci that's on a church wall or whatever. Like these are great ideas, but in reality, possession is possession of the physical thing.
It seems like he
Because
wants to
if you look
launch
at the
this pretty
source,
quickly.
It's quite rushed, yeah, but we'll see.
I think he saw some sort of indicator that shows altcoin season coming soon. I really think he's looking for ETH to pump soon.
well, the most bullish thing he said was, again, I believe it was roasting Corey,
Yeah,
but was basically like, hey, look what happened the last time I had a sacrifice to the prices.
Altcoin Daily 20 hours ago, but they were interviewing Sergey from Chainlink. That's one of the quotes that was clipped out, and it's been like in the past few days, obviously with the Zcash and other stuff. That privacy has been like a buzzword. And I wonder if it's just like feeding into buzzword stuff.
Privacy is definitely a buzzword right now, but also there's a reason why these privacy protocols have been running, and it's literally people washing their money, and they do this every cycle. Towards the end of the cycle, they will use these privacy tokens to wash their funds. So I definitely think that's what's been going on. Fundamentally, something's happening to push people to these privacy protocols. But then on top of that, it's just become like a buzzword now. Everyone's aping into them because it's the new narrative.
Yeah, I'm curious about, like, in your real world, who you would sell your crypto bags to for a bank transaction, versus, like, crypto Twitter anons. Like, I'm putting up here's my bank info. When you send me some, I'll send you some, like that kind of stuff. That we haven't done that in forever in crypto. But like, I still think the friends and family route happens a lot, especially when people are enthusiastic and they want to get their Thanksgiving dinner transactions done.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue if I wouldn't probably have a problem giving up bank details if it's someone that I, know has capital and I'm trying to make a deal with. I do think it allows just bigger parties, like let's say you have founders, things like larger, entities and people in these projects. I think it allows them to move maybe, capital amongst themselves a lot easier.
I was just about to say that. I just hopped on just to say that part. So the friends and family thing works, right? But I think we might be thinking about this a little bit too small. Larger entities and corporations and like people with large amounts of capital do this stuff all the time, where they have each other's contact information, stuff like that, and then they send each other, I mean, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars all the time. It happens all the time.
Would that actually
So
help the chart
also,
too, since you're not selling it?
well,
Again, it's neutral at best. It's not pushing the price up, but it's not necessarily tanking just an OTC transaction.
yeah, it's just an OTC transaction. But here's the thing: is that he's charging essentially a 1% fee, right? I believe it's like 0.5 and a 0.5, and so that 1% fee on like $10 million, let's say, is pretty huge. Like, it's a good amount of money, and I don't know where the fee's going. Right, that's the thing. Like he's presumably there's a fee on Pulsex, and presumably there's also a fee on the bridge, and presumably there'd be a fee on this protocol. But like, is it buying back the chart? Is it gonna help? I don't know. I guess we have to wait for the white
He
paper.
said buy and burn, I think, in the first tweet. I'll
Yeah,
go
he did
check though.
I have a
Yeah, but
question. I don't know, Giga, or something that's very technical to answer. For your bro, and like you said, onboarding somebody for your bro, you're like, them, they say, I've got $1 million, I want to buy in. Does a proof matter to you? If the money lands in your bank account and you sent the transaction and you knew the guy's name and address and his third relative twice removed or whatever, like what do you care if there's a proof?
Well, I think that's the very point of this whole thing. Now, like the details on how this happens is very unclear, but it sounds a whole lot like that money is basically held, and I think that's actually the exact word he used. It was something along those lines. Until that the crypto transaction is proved. So there's something here that I'm missing. And that's, I think, just fundamentally because we don't understand exactly what it is he's building yet. And we've gotten these like really weird hints. And Richard's frankly really bad at describing how things work in text. He's really good at it on stream, but in text, like maybe he's trying to withhold it because he doesn't want competition to front run him or something like that. But it's impossible to know. But yeah, to answer your question is like, yeah, what's it matter, right? Like if I was doing a deal with you, I know you're a multi-millionaire or whatever, you wanted to buy 1 million of Pulsechain, and I do, okay, like we'll just do smaller transactions, like $200,000 transactions at a time or something, and we'll basically go back and forth. That's probably like how you would do it with like a bigger person you would know anyway. So I think there is obviously a use here. We just don't understand how it works amongst parties that are not necessarily trusting one another to give each other money, but trusting you enough that I'm okay giving up my bank details or whatever for that transaction to happen.
it would be cool if it worked kind of like an escrow, which I think you might be describing, Giga.
Yeah,
Where like,
that's
yeah.
that's the whole conundrum here, right? Is how do you escrow US dollars trustlessly?
Yeah.
Like that's what I really don't understand. That's kind of like I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he put out those first tweets that it was a coin, and I just had to go touch grass for a day. But I'm gonna do a little bit more research, and I'm gonna just kind of try to aggregate all the different tweets he's made about it, just try to figure out exactly what's going on, because I know he's using the SSL certificates, and that is encrypted data, right? So that's encrypted data from your browser going to whatever server you're talking to. So is it his website is sending, or the server, I would imagine, is the one who's has this handshake that's happening, and that you're generating a proof from.
All right, so when you're thinking about this just now, even that's in reference to the Some Education Here tweet that Richard put in response. We're saying it's not a mixer, it's not basically it's addresses. exchange between two parties. Is that what you're kind of saying? Because I don't know that software is going to hold anything that has to do with Wells Fargo or Bank of America or have any kind of like due diligence to connect. I don't think banks are at that point to care about anonymous protocol software.
Yeah, it's against their best interest, right?
Right. I mean, they have due diligence and they have all kinds of, there's no anonymity that's permitted between them.
I mean, just that and their entire business models, designed on scraping as much from every transaction they possibly can. It's like that. Okay, that's cool. Let's try to best find a way where I can send, dollars to you, Gary, and you can send me Pulse, and we could do it in basically one swoop, and I don't have to worry about losing my money, and you don't have to worry about getting, a clawback or something.
The way I did an OTC, I think I said in a previous space last night, I did OTC, I don't know, about 10 months, maybe a year before Pulsechain went live. Someone wanted to get out of their, like what they had sacrificed. It was somebody I didn't know. So like it wasn't family or anything like that, or I hadn't even seen their logo before. But, I had to get them, I had to get notaries involved, I had to get a lawyer involved, on their side and on my side. It's like all kinds of due diligence crap or whatever. And then it was basically like when the chain goes live, you've got to send to this new address at this date and time, within 24 hours of the chain going live. So like OTC still happens. It's happened since crypto existed, I'm sure. It's just like, do you trust your, do you try to hedge or do you not?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's just a cut party, and being able to do that without being able to trust them is obviously the answer. And like if he's figured that out, then fantastic. He has seriously figured out something super innovative. But like my brain's not able to comprehend how you would do that, man. Because if he did do this, what he's describing, and he did it correctly, and it's battle tested to some capacity, then yeah, it's a really good thing for all of us. It's a really good thing for Richard, which means that it's a good thing for all of us. I just hope it is what is described and that he figured it out. But if it's just like see, like the only thing my brain goes to is like over and over again, I'm like, oh, you got like a Cash App 2.0, but it now has like some kind of signature proof validation thing.
So the current system, does it, the crypto goes to a smart contract, gets locked up, and then it waits for the proof from the cash settlement to then release the crypto? Is that how it currently works?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Does it currently work like ZK proof where the crypto gets locked in a smart contract, and then once the cash ACH or whatever is confirmed, then the crypto gets released?
But what if I would guess you would have to, in some capacity, lock up the crypto. But then the question is like, how do you confirm that dollar transaction, hit a bank account? And he claims to do that through, SSL, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter who, as long as one side's locked up, right? Then the second transaction can confirm and complete the transaction. And if the second part of the transaction doesn't happen, the contract releases it back to the buyer, the first person.
Then there's a lot of other questions. It's like Gary had brought up, is you could get chargebacks. What is the period in which that money or that crypto is locked up? Because if there is a locking period, like I said, it's just, there's so much here that we don't know. Because I go like, what if you just cancel the transaction like before what if the buyer, the dollar buyer, ends up canceling their wire or whatever, however this works, and your crypto side backed out while the wire's going through or something. Like I just, there's so much nuance here that it's impossible, I think, for any of us to know.
Yeah, I mean, and the crypto to fiat makes sense. Fiat to fiat would be hard because then it's like, yeah, then you could just not, like the first person has to go to a smart contract, but it sounds like it goes direct to bank. But it is funny, you did say it uses math, and that was like how it settles.
I did because I was really curious, and when he first described, or when he first asked us to guess, I believe I spun up like it was 4 individual agents, each with like 30 or 40 sub agents, And I literally had them, I said, like, I want to look at the top 10 developers on this chain, the top 10 developers here, the top 10 developers here. I want to look at all of the most recent development going on in just any kind of privacy, crypto or not. And I had them also find just all the top devs for all of those different things, and then research everything they've done in the past 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, and 1 month. And like, there's a couple of like little proof things here and there, usually involving like L2 things, but I would have never guessed, like, a kind of like supposed trustless P2P OTC desk thing. Because I just don't know how it's possible. Things for certain, we're either gonna go up really hard or we're gonna go down really hard, relatively soon.
Banana up. Send it all up, man. Send it all up.
Yeah, I'm praying my my uneasiness with the initial announcement is a good sign. Right? I need to act against it.
Yeah, I just like the calling Corey a cry fag, saying that it normally pumps the charts and then deleting it.
Bro, hitting him again with it is brutal, bro. Just total brutality.
Just straight singling him out.
he is one of the biggest criers,
Yeah. Bro, it's too funny, man. Honestly, I'd love one of the first streams to just be getting Corey up and Richard just turning him inside out in front of everyone. That'd be so funny. But Richard, you made us wait 2 years. Oh my days!
I felt bad for when he was interviewing Ben Cohen, because I was like, oh god, he's just asking him every question that Ben covers on his own streams and spaces. And then
I know, bro.
He didn't even engage after a while. There was a period where he was just like, no, you could just talk for the next 30 minutes and I'm not.
It was kind of just a Ben live stream.
yeah, and I was like, oh,
I was thinking that. I forgot Corey was there for a minute when I was walking around.
Does anybody know exactly how this is going to be launched? Is there still speculations, or has it been confirmed that it's going to be on Pulsechain?
So he's not said it's going to be on Pulsechain.
It's probably not going to be.
Right.
So what is the best way we should prepare for this, like while we're all waiting?
Well,
probably by
dev transfer. So, I know I just spoke to you in DMs. I think the smartest thing to do here, and this is just my personal opinion, is to bridge into Pulsechain and buy his other tokens, right? You got Pulsex, Hex, Pulse. And the reason why I say this is because last time he done a sacrifice, right, which was for Pulsechain, the layer 2, the network. And sorry, layer 1. I don't know why I said layer 2 there. The Hex on Ethereum at the time done basically a 50x while the sacrifice was going on. So if he does utilize the sacrifice, right, and he says that his core tokens are going to be in the sacrifice, well, you need to understand you're front running the narrative, and people will be buying his tokens to sacrifice, right? So you'll see the price going up from that, and then you'd also see a lot of supply getting taken off people, which means less sell pressure when it is game time, and you'll see the core tokens pumping. So, in my humble opinion, the smartest thing for you to do right now is I think you're on Solana, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so bridge, you can use Liberty Swap. It's a great bridge. You can bridge straight from Solana into Pulsechain and just, have a diversified bag between Hex, Pulsex, Pulse, entirely up to you which ones you want to choose. Pulsex is the DEX token, Pulse is the gas token, and Hex is obviously Hex. And that's what done a 10,000x last cycle. So it's entirely up to you what you want to choose. Obviously, I would diversify between all of them. And I just patiently wait, kind of thing, and hold on to it and see what happens in the future once this sacrifice does go live.
100%. Yeah, I appreciate that advice. So, are you saying I shouldn't buy ProveX?
No. That they're just meme coins. They're just shit coins. Then ProveX. Sorry, are you talking about the one that you sent to me in DMs, the deck screener one?
No, I'm saying when excuse me, sorry guys. When Richard does launch, will that be something equivalent to like Hex, Pulsex, etc.?
Well,
it'll be like Pulsex.
Yeah, so there would be no financial advice, obviously. And the one thing I would say is if you front run the narrative and you bring in the funds and you buy his coins, and he says you can use my coins for the pre-sale. The sacrifice is a pre-sale, right? Then you could also put up some money towards the sacrifice. So you could get into the pre-sale yourself.
Would you guys recommend that? Obviously, I know you said there's no financial advice, but like, could you bridge over
Well,
from
I can tell you what I'm
Pulse
doing, bro.
Chain? Okay, yeah.
And I will definitely be sacrificing at least 10% of my portfolio. At least. That's just my humble, I'm a retard. I think
I'm with
also,
you.
I think it will do gains off the jump, definitely. And I think obviously you could half sacrifice, then half just leave it in Pulsex, Pulse, Hex, and maybe just wait until there's a dip and then buy the dip as well. It's entirely up to you how you want to play with it, but I'm definitely going to sacrifice 100%.
And you can bridge that on Liberty Swap. Do you think it will be available like on Pulse Chain immediately, or like will you
Well,
have
it
to
all
like?
depends on the information that we get. We currently have no information.
The real question is like, he said there's a token that's being launched with it, and this protocol buys and burns it. So I just go, where is that coin going to be? And if I had to guess, it would be on the layer one that he built. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Like because the main burn has to go somewhere, unless every transaction is based off their blockchain.
Yeah, you split again, like splitting economic energy, splitting your LP up multi-chain. It makes you less efficient, not more. So I don't know why you would want to ever have like multi-pool chain things.
I don't know
It'd be
why he doesn't
so.
burn PLS. I don't know why we need a new token.
Yeah, Bob. I don't know if you were here a little bit earlier. I said the same thing. I mean, I know why, right? Because if your goal is to help your assets appreciate, so you're offering a product that actually is useful, you have a ecosystem that you want to create buy pressure on, and you are trying to basically get your core coins off the market. The only way to do that is with a sacrifice. And how are you going to do a sacrifice if it's buying and burning itself, right? So I go, like, you could, but people want value, right? Like they want to receive something, and I think that you can't give them polls, or so in order to do the sacrifice, he needed to make a coin. Now he has a coin, and I think that I think the end game here is that coin's liquidity would just be heavily pushed into the PulseX ecosystem. So it's just going to be paired very aggressively. Maybe we see a pool on PulseX, a yield pool. Maybe all of the economic, the incentive energy is used to pump, this pool's yield to get you guys to go into that pool to tether this thing even tighter together. I don't know. Like there's a million possibilities here. I would have to bet that that's a high probability thing, though. I just want to be clear. I think that.
Do you think there could be a fixed rate multiplier on the core coins to incentivize people sacking core coins and people buying core coins and then sacking them?
Probably.
I was going to say, what better incentive would you have, right? Like, it's for your own shit. Because instead of giving people just a bonus for sacrificing more value, why not give them a bonus for sacrificing more value of your own thing,
Yeah, a fixed rate one, not a whale bonus, because we know how that works.
Yeah, it curves up too hard.
Does anyone have an idea what browser this might run on? Like, I can't see it running on Chrome. There's no way he'd run a Chrome
It'd be like
extension.
all of them, I think, because he said browser extension. So I don't see why it wouldn't be like
But
every single.
wouldn't Chrome just block the extension?
Do you mean block it from the browser or block it from the store to be able to download it?
Block it from the store, like all the.
Well, I don't think he would put it in the store. Maybe he doesn't
Oh,
put it in the store.
Oh, true. Yeah, that could be a way around it.
And I don't think it's as bad as we thought. It's not like it's still doxing each side to each other. So I don't think people will just launder money through it all the time.
Yeah, first tier is going to be people. I mean, once it actually is live, and again, I don't know that the value is in. I need a ZK proof for my brother to accept my crypto. Like, I'm still trying to figure out if that's worthwhile for first tier people that you already know the KYC from.
The one thing that I was saying before some of you guys got here, Giga, Gary, like the legal aspect, now that he's been through the SEC case and the fact that he has contacts with these high-powered lawyers, like I feel like he's probably run a lot of this by them before going forward with it.
I think you just denied that he built it.
I don't know if you could do that anymore. I mean,
He never actually said he was behind it.
yeah, I mean, but he never said he was behind any of the other assets, dude.
Well, pump tires is similar, right? Did he build it? Did he not build it? It's kind of gray. I assume he did.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level though when you're dealing with fiat currencies, right? This is how I perceive it.
What's
I don't know.
That's what I was saying, because the money laundering issue comes into play, and that, like, you don't.
what's the psyop of keeping the link richardhart.com on his Twitter, but he doesn't ever read or use Twitter? Like, what's the psyop of it not being a functional website for years?
I think he said it was coming back. I think he recently said it was coming back, if I remember correctly. Because
But he
someone did
doesn't
ask
have
him
the
about
edit ability to like remove it. Like, it just seems weird to click on a link and it goes nowhere for so long.
It's a mysterious man.